So I was talking the other day with Michael the shop cat about what could we create that would make a great way to dispense wine without showing a wine box. Now maybe Michael had this idea before, but he wasn't telling me, but I finally came up with an idea and we're going to go for it right now. So Michael, here's the wine bag out of the box. So I need to get some basic dimensions of this. So I see it's about 9.5. Michael, you paying attention? There we go. So I'm going to draw the basic box out here, or the bag. Oh yeah, step right in the middle of it. That's good. Okay, so we are looking at, it's about 2.5 inches high. So I'm going to take some basic measurements and put them down on paper so I have this. And now I'm going to take a board that was 5.5 inch pine that's tongue and groove, and I'm going to glue this together in 16-inch sections using Starbond, which is like a super glue. It is great stuff, and the great thing with this is you immediately can use it. So you glue it up. You spray a little bit of the accelerator on the opposite piece you're going to glue to, and within seconds, these two are glued together and ready to be worked with. Same with the other. I'll put a link in the description below to Starbond adhesives. So now I basically have something around 16 inches, and I'm going to set my center mark. And using a makeshift compass, I'm going to draw a 14-inch circle. Good to go to the band. Got my basic cut, and now I'm going to drill a hole, and using a Forster bit, I'm going to cut this so that I can put the wine dispenser through that. Now this was close, but still a little bit tight, so I'm going to use a portable oscillating sander to just clean this out a little bit so it's better. And with a couple minutes of that, I've checked this out, it's going to fit fine. Now, I went to a program called Kittle, and I purchased this a while back. This is not sponsored or anything, but they've got some great templates that I can create that I can use on the front of this wood. And by the time you're done, you're really pretty happy with this. Now, this is a free program to just play with, or you can pay for it on a yearly basis that will give you really good, like SVG files or PDFs. And it works great, especially if you're using anything like a laser cutter, or even if you're using, let's say, a Cricut or a different brand cutter, you could do the same thing. Now, I'm going to use a laser cut on this, but you could have also just cut like a stencil on a Cricut or a Silhouette and then just sprayed that on. I've done that before, and it also works great. Happy with that. So now I'm going to take 2 pieces of scrap 3/8 rough plywood, And I'm going to use this for the back. So what I'm going to do is basically do a tracing of the front of the box. And then I'll cut both these pieces at the same time, so I'm just going to use some double-sided tape and put this down just as a temporary to hold these together while I cut them out. Taking it back to the bandsaw, quickly making the cuts. And now I'm going to use that same compass that I made, and I'm going to cut out an interior ring and then a top on this. And one side of it will be 3/4 of an inch taller. And I'll show you why. What this is going to do is help me create a cleat, basically, that'll hold it to the wall. So I'll figure out my basic, looks like 7 inches, and I'm going to use this from the drop-off piece that I cut out of the back of the circles. So I will cut 2 pieces, and one of them, once again, will be 3/4 of an inch taller than the other. So that helps put this together to make a cleat wall hanging system. So using some wood glue, I will glue these together. And then I'm going to just use my cordless stapler and throw some staples in this to hold it together. You could use brads or anything. And then also, I'm going to do the same thing with the backing. Now, one thing you want to keep in mind is when you're cutting these 2 rings out, make your entrance with the bandsaw at a different place, because once you glue the 2 together, they will be strong, and it won't even count that you cut through that ring. Does that make sense? I think I confused myself. And then I'll use my crown stapler here to just lock these down into place too. Now you can see the shelf that it's basically made that'll be able to lock into the cleat that I made. Just like that. Now I think I'll also take the sander and knock the edge of that cleat off a little bit so it slides on easier. Now going outside, I am going to start cutting some 4-inch long pieces of 1x2s that I can use that goes around the edge. Now I'm going to cut just a little over 30 of these pieces. Then just using the sander, I'm going to knock off the edges of it and actually give maybe a little bit of a rough bevel edge to the ends of these. Now, I'm also going to cut 4 pieces that are approximately 1.5 inches shorter than those 4-inch sides. And this is going to be the piece that goes in between that holds the front and the back apart. And I'm using the Starbond glue on this too because it's quick and easy and lets me keep working. And now I can align the top to this, and you're going to want to really make sure that you're straight with this so that when you hang it on the wall, you're level. I used a couple of thin strips to kind of align it from the back and the front and just eyeball that on. It worked great. So now I'm going to start assembling this by putting a dab of glue on both the top and the bottom. And starting out with, oh, by the way, that made a great glue holder. And starting out with setting this in place and just using the stapler again to tag those into space, into place, not space. And now we can just tag each of these or staple each of these all the way around until you've got almost all of them done, and then just set up your last one, and we've got the front of a barrel, as though you hadn't figured this out already. Now I love how this is basically looking. Now I'm going to take a really wet paper towel, I'm going to come back and I'm going to wipe all the glue off of here. And you're going to want to get as much of this out of there as possible because it will show when you come back to stain this. After that has dried, I'm going to come back with a torch and I'm going to just torch the edges of this because I think it's going to give it a rustic barrel look. Speed that up a little bit. And then I'll set it up on the end and get that inside lip and the front of these too. This will also help to give it a blended in and aged out look. Now, you can finish this any way you want. I just like how that burnt wood and then bring it in with a nice stain. It has just a cool look to it. You can also see it starts to give a softened edge into the face of the barrel as well. Yeah, I'm liking how that's looking. So now I'm going to take a little bit of early American stain from Minwax, and I'm just going to start using a rag and just start covering this whole front of the barrel. And I'm really liking the color of this. This has a really nice tone to it. The great thing too with the sides of this, you don't want those to be perfect. It's got to give it that kind of that roughed out look like an old antique barrel would have been. And I like the way the stain works well with the burned wood as well. It has a real aged look to it. But I'm thinking I want to go a little further. So I picked up some Behr chalk paint. Now this is made for antiquing things out, and I've used a different brand before that I felt like worked a little better, but this will work fine. And just giving it a light dusting around that edge. And this helps really lock down that look of it being aged. I'm going to rub a little bit of that off, and then I'm going to come around and spray the side of it toward the top just to help finish that off. Yeah, I'm liking how this is turning out. So now, after this has had a chance to dry, I'm going to take it outside and use some 2x Rust-Oleum clear on this. And I ended up putting 2 good heavy coats of this on there, but it's just to seal it all in and help protect it. Now I'm going to come inside and I'm going to mark where this cleat needs to be installed on the wall. I pre-drilled one hole and set a wall anchor so that it's easy to pivot it off and level it out. So I'll screw this down, set a level on top of it, make sure it's exactly where it needs to go, mark that hole, and then pre-drill this and set a wall anchor too. So now I'll drill a hole through that, loosen this up, and now I can go ahead and tap in a wall anchor. This is good and strong. Now I'm ready to go ahead and set that box wine into this. I'm really excited how this has turned out and it's coming along. So this is the big, is this going to work? So let's set this down. Now you can just gently tuck it all into place. You'll want to make sure you don't have any like splinters of wood or anything, so make sure you've sanded everything enough. And then just bring the tap through the hole, and it's a nice snug fit. That's going to work fine. I think we're ready to take it over to the wall cleat. So now you can just bring it up, and it locks right down into place. So here it is. I don't know how I didn't think of this sooner. This is so cool, and it's going to be so great having it here. Let's try it out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.